Long ago, before cities, cars, or even farms, humans lived in a world full of wild landscapes and untamed nature. The earth was covered with vast forests, open grasslands, icy mountains, and endless deserts, each filled with animals of every shape and size. Early humans did not have houses with walls and roofs. Instead, they found shelter in caves, under large trees, or in simple huts made from branches and animal skins. They were wanderers, moving from place to place, always searching for food, water, and safety. These humans lived in small groups called bands, usually made up of families who trusted and helped each other. Every day was an adventure, but also a challenge, because finding enough to eat was never guaranteed. Men and women worked together, sharing the responsibilities of survival in a harsh and unpredictable world. Hunting was an important skill, but it was dangerous, requiring courage, teamwork, and careful planning. Hunters carried spears, clubs, or sharpened stones, tools they made with their own hands from whatever materials they could find. They learned how to track animals by following footprints, broken branches, and other clues left in the environment. When they succeeded in hunting a large animal, the entire group would share the meat, making sure everyone had enough to eat. But meat was not their only food. They also gathered nuts, fruits, roots, and edible plants from the forest. Women and children often helped with gathering, learning which plants were safe and which ones could be poisonous. This knowledge was passed down from older generations, ensuring the group's survival. Fire was one of the greatest discoveries, giving warmth in the cold, light in the darkness, and the ability to cook food. But fire also kept dangerous predators away, like lions, wolves, and bears that prowl the night. Early humans used animal skins to make clothing, protecting themselves from freezing winters and burning summers. They decorated these clothes with beads, shells, and colored paints, not just for beauty, but also for cultural meaning. Communication was simple at first, with gestures, sounds, and facial expressions to share ideas. Over time, they developed early forms of language, allowing them to tell stories, teach skills, and warn of danger. Storytelling became a powerful tradition, helping the young learn about their ancestors and the spirits they believed guided them. Some humans painted on cave walls, creating images of animals, hunts, and mysterious symbols. These cave paintings were more than art. They were records of life, messages for the future, and perhaps even spiritual rituals. Life was closely connected to nature, and every sound, smell, and sight carried meaning. The rustle of leaves could signal a predator, while the smell of rain meant fresh water might be nearby. Seasons guided their movements as they followed migrating animals and ripening plants throughout the year. In spring, new plants grew, and animals gave birth, providing fresh food. In summer, rivers flowed with fish and fruits were plentiful, but heat could be dangerous without shade and water. Autumn meant storing food, drying meat, and preparing for the cold months ahead. Winter was the hardest season, when food was scarce and survival depended on planning and cooperation. Children learned by watching adults, copying how they made tools, built fires, and prepared food. Play was also important, as games helped develop skills needed for hunting and teamwork. Elders were respected as wise leaders, their knowledge of survival passed down through countless seasons. Humans traveled on foot, carrying their belongings on their backs or using simple sleds pulled over the ground. Sometimes they followed herds of animals across great distances, even crossing rivers and mountains. The world was their home, but it was also full of danger, from storms and wild animals to rival human groups. Conflicts could happen over territory, food, or resources, but often groups avoided each other to prevent injury. They used natural materials to make shelters wherever they stopped, building quickly before nightfall. A shelter could be a simple lean-to of branches, a tent of animal skins, or a hut made of mud and grass. They learned to read the stars for navigation, guiding them across open plains or through dense forests. The moon and sun became their natural clocks, marking the passing of days and nights. Some groups lived near coasts or rivers, becoming skilled at fishing and using boats made from hollowed-out logs. Others preferred the forests, where they could hunt deer and gather berries. Still others roamed the grasslands, following the great herds of bison or antelope. Every environment shaped the way they lived, the tools they made, and the food they ate. Stone tools were shaped into sharp edges for cutting meat, scraping hides, or chopping wood. Over generations, humans improved their tools, making them stronger, sharper, and more efficient. They discovered how to attach stone blades to wooden handles, creating axes and spears that could reach farther and hit harder. Working together, they could bring down animals much larger than themselves, like mammoths or giant elk. When the hunt was over, they used every part of the animal meat for food, hides for clothing, bones for tools, and tendons for thread. Nothing was wasted because survival meant making the most of every resource. Their lives were simple but deeply connected to the rhythms of the earth, the movements of the animals, and the cycles of the seasons. Though they faced constant challenges, they also experienced moments of joy, celebration, and discovery. They were the first humans, and their story was just beginning. Long before maps, people navigated using the sun, the stars, and the shape of the land. They learned which rivers had the freshest water and which plants were safe to eat. Some groups followed herds of animals across open plains, traveling for days without seeing another person. Others stayed near the coast, catching fish and collecting seashells for tools and decoration. Children played with sticks and stones, pretending to hunt or cook just like the adults. Stories were told around campfires, with shadows dancing on the faces of the listeners. These stories helped pass on knowledge about animals, weather, and the land. In dangerous times, quick communication could save lives, like warning of a lion nearby. People developed simple sounds and gestures to share important information. Over generations, these signals became more complex, leading to early forms of language. With language, people could plan hunts together and warn others about faraway dangers. They could describe where to find berries or how to make a stronger spear. Groups became more united as members understood each other better. Leadership began to appear, with certain people guiding decisions for the whole group. Leaders were often the most skilled hunters or the wisest elders. Elders remembered which plants cured sickness and which paths led to shelter. In harsh winters, their advice could mean the difference between survival and tragedy. Fire was still a precious discovery, and learning to keep it alive was an important skill. Some groups carried burning sticks from place to start new fires. Others learned to spark flames using stones or dried plants. Fire kept wild animals away, provided warmth, and made food safer to eat. Cooking meat made it easier to chew and gave people more energy. Energy meant they could travel farther and work longer. They built simple shelters from branches, leaves, and animal skins. These shelters protected them from rain, wind, and cold. Life was still challenging, but humans were becoming more adaptable. They found ways to store food for later, such as drying meat in the sun. They made containers from hollowed-out gourds or woven grass. Tools became more advanced, with sharper edges and stronger handles. Some people crafted necklaces from bones and shells, showing early signs of art. Art was more than decoration. It was a way to express ideas and identity. Cave paintings showed animals, hunting scenes, and mysterious symbols. Perhaps these paintings were part of rituals or used to teach younger generations. Humans were also learning about seasons, noticing patterns in weather and animal movements. They began to predict when certain fruits would ripen or when herds would migrate. Knowledge was shared from parents to children, generation after generation. Communities grew larger as people learned to cooperate better. With larger groups came more skills. Some people became experts in making tools, others in finding food. This was the beginning of specialized roles in society. The more people worked together, the stronger the group became. Friendship and trust were as important for survival as hunting and gathering. Humans began to travel farther, exploring new territories. They crossed rivers, climbed hills, and ventured into forests they had never seen before. Some groups encountered others, exchanging ideas and goods. These early exchanges were the first tiny steps toward trade. The variety of tools and materials grew as people shared their discoveries. Over time, humans learned to adapt to nearly every kind of environment. They could survive in icy tundras, dry deserts, and dense jungles. Clothing made from animal skins helped them endure the cold. In warmer regions, lighter clothing and open shelters kept them cool. Every place had its own challenges, and humans developed unique solutions for each. Music began to appear, with people creating rhythms by clapping or hitting stones together. Some made simple flutes from bones, filling the air with new sounds. Music brought joy and unity during gatherings. It may have also been used in rituals or celebrations. With music, art, and language, humans were becoming truly unique among animals. They were not just surviving, they were shaping the world around them. They observed the stars at night, perhaps wondering about their meaning. Curiosity drove them to explore further, always searching for something new. This curiosity would one day lead to incredible discoveries. But for now, daily life was about balance, finding enough food, staying safe, and keeping the fire alive. The bond between members of a group was their greatest strength. Together, they faced storms, hunger, and predators. Together, they celebrated when the hunt was good or when a baby was born. Every person had a role, from the smallest child to the oldest elder. Children learned by watching and imitating the adults. Games often prepared them for adult responsibilities. Running, throwing, and climbing were more than play, they were training for survival. People respected the animals they hunted, using every part for food, tools, or clothing. This respect helped maintain balance with nature. They knew that without the land and animals, they could not live. Many believed in spirits or forces that controlled the world. Rituals and offerings were made to ensure good hunts or protect from danger. These early beliefs would one day grow into complex religions. Humans were laying the foundation for everything that would come later. The ability to adapt, cooperate, and create gave them an unmatched advantage. This was only the first chapter in a much longer story. The world was vast, and humans had only begun to explore it. Every step, every discovery, every lesson learned shaped the path forward. From small fires in dark caves to the first footprints in new lands, the journey continued. And somewhere in the distance, the seeds of future civilizations were waiting to grow.